All right, what you want to in the place to be? What's up, y'all? How y'all feel out there? I am Frank Red, and this is In the Dungeon Show. I want to thank you for joining me in conversation. Really appreciate it. I thought that I would start the show a little later tonight because the Golden State Warriors were playing the Utah Jazz in the Summer League, and I thought maybe the show would end by the time that we started. I'm not quite sure what the outcome of the game is. Feel free to comment, but I wanted to get a really, really good look at some of these Warrior players who potentially might have an opportunity to play for the big club. And we can definitely get into it, but I think the results are mixed. And like Quentin posed last year, if these young men are going to be successful, it's going to take them some time. One of the things that I think of when I'm watching high-level basketball, and I revert back to, when I played at the high school level, and certainly playing against future pros at the college level. And I start thinking about coaching. Coaching is so important. And where does it show up? It shows up how you practice. One of the things that you might notice or you might not notice, but consistently, there are about 7 universities in college basketball that produce multiple pros. Every now and then there might be an outlier from University of Ohio, like the kid Ryan Rollins, who recently signed a 3-year deal with Milwaukee, was drafted by the Warriors. But your tried and true universities, the 7 universities, those are the ones that consistently produce pros. And you might say, why? It is because every day in practice is harder than the game. And for a lot of these guys and girls who are used to kind of playing a contact-free game, or there's not a lot of pressure, and they get a chance to do what they want to do, when they get to this level, the professional level, it's totally different. And they're not ready. Most of them are not ready. Thank God for the G League, because it takes you 30 games, 35 games to get mentally ready for that level of intensity. I credit my coaches because I was ready for the smoke. I was ready for the intensity. I just wasn't as good. I'd rather be intense than be good. Because if you are just talented and you can't rep yourself up to that level of intensity, you're probably not going to make it. Off the rip, I think the kid Will Richards from Florida, 2nd round pick, has a chance to be an NBA player. To what extent, I still don't know yet. That will depend upon how well he can shoot the 3. But the kid, Alex Napi, and even the kid Tyron Armstrong, who was a nice player, he has a good head for the game. But the level of physicality is something that those young men are going to have to get themselves used to, because they're not ready now. Savages play in the NBA. It's even worse in the summer. We have inexperienced referees and guys doing whatever they can do to try to get a job, just to get invited to the training camp. It's kind of a big deal. So, as I digress, my diatribe, because I love basketball, and I'm a talent evaluator. I evaluate it on the highest level. I'm a coach, and I'm a fan. So when I see players play, I'm looking at 19 things at one particular time. I have scoured the Summer League talent. You want to ask me about a player, I'll give you my evaluation of that player. I'm also going to throw some names out there that I've been impressed with. If you're watching for the first time, my name is Frank Red. How you doing out there? This is the In the Dungeon Show, and we're building momentum. If you are not subscribed, hit the subscribe button or the like button, hit the notification button as well. It certainly helps the show. It helps me. And yeah, check it out. It's a little different. We are content heavy. We talk about sports. We talk about entertainment. So I'm going to talk about a movie. I have a movie review. And I'm going to comment on music tonight. I generally only talk about music if I like it, if I appreciate it. If I don't like it, I probably won't mention it. Because if you know anything about the music business, it's a machine, all right? And what I like or what somebody else likes is almost inconsequential if you don't have the machine behind you. And the machine is money, all right? So I got an album, a couple of tracks I've listened to that I'm impressed with. And we're going to talk about that. Once again, my name is Frank Red, all right? And we're going to talk about the NBA Summer League. NFL rookies report to camp this week. I'm excited about that. So if we want to talk some NFL, we can do that. The WNBA is in full effect. Watched a great game today between Indiana Fever against the Dallas Wings. The outcome was never in question, but the talent level on the floor was what I was enthralled by. I'm a big Paige Beckers fan, always been, watching her since high school. That's what a player looks like, all right? That's what a player looks like. Caitlin Clark was doing her thing. I mean, the best passer in the league, as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, it's a good time. So NFL, WNBA, NBA free agent, the Warriors, the Knicks, and we're going to talk about a movie that I happened to see this weekend as well. All right. The show started. It was up to my man SGA. How you doing? You should have called me earlier. I might have let you on. Windocious says, "What's up, Frank? Did you see that new Superman?" Yes, I did. And I'm going to comment in a second. And my man TG says, "If Alex Starr and Drew Timme are playing Summer League, pose, and Trey Jackson Davis should be out there." You know what? I think you make a great point. Now, I'm going to say this. It really doesn't serve Trey Jackson Davis a whole lot to play in the Summer League. And I'm going to tell you why. Because as far as I'm concerned, he's already established himself as an NBA player. To what extent, we don't know. But he's already a high-level defensive rebounder. He's a lob catcher. And if Trey Jackson Davis was a free agent, he would have a contract probably in excess of $18 to $20 million. He'd be making $6 to $7 million a year. The Warriors are actually lucky that he still has a year left on his deal because Trey Jackson Davis is a player. The reason why he wasn't playing last year was because of Steve Kerr. It was an arbitrary decision that Steve Kerr made, and he was a great soldier, kept his mouth shut, like he's supposed to do, and he had to endure that. But I think Trey Jackson Davis would put up big numbers in the Summer League, but I don't think it's necessary for him to play. I actually don't. It's necessary for him to play in the winter. And therein lies the scenario that we've been dealing with for quite some time. We don't know when guys are going to play. And that's really frustrating. So, yeah, the Warriors are lucky to have Trey Jackson Davis. Nothing is really happening on the signing and free agent front because the Kuminga thing hasn't been solved. So the Warriors don't know how much money they have, which is why Al Harrington has not been signed, which is why probably DeAnthony Milton hasn't signed yet. And you know, we're not at nutcracking time, but we're getting close. I don't know what's going to happen. I think that there's an absolute bottom in terms of how much money Kuminga is willing to accept. The trade value for Jonathan Kuminga clearly is not what the Warriors like. Big picture. It doesn't appear that Giannis is saying that he wants out of Milwaukee. There was something online recently in which he was being interviewed by a YouTuber called Something Speed, and he asked Giannis, was he going to stay in Milwaukee? And he said, probably. Yeah, probably. Not a resounding, definitive slam dunk, I'm never going to leave. But he's there now, because he knows that he can't really navigate his career the way that maybe he would like to. So the words are stuck. And I don't see anything coming down the pike. I don't see anybody on the Summer League team that I go, okay, we're going to plug this guy in. He's going to help him. Richards, I like what I see. He's a winner. But as a guard, as an NBA guard, I don't care how defensive you are, how strong. If you can't make an open shot consistently, you can't play at that level. You can't. SGA channel. Oh, this is a great show. Great insight. Right. Appreciate you. So, well, let me tell you about some guys that I'm impressed with. And then you can put some names out there if you want to. You can disagree with me. Whatever you want to do. I was going to say Cooper Flag has impressed me. But he's basically done what I knew he would do, all right? And if you were going to Vegas expecting to see Cooper Flag pass the first weekend, you're out of your mind. Because he was going to be shut down. And I think the Dallas Mavericks did the smart thing by shutting him down. He has nothing else to prove. Besides, that dude could literally turn into a one-man Beto invasion. I was thinking this afternoon. Think about this. Cooper Flag, I'm saying coming into the league, he's on LeBron James's level in terms of hype and hysteria. It's going to be crazy in Dallas. A couple of things. I'm not saying he's a better player than LeBron. However, let me say this. If Cooper was playing for a bad team, he might muscle up 20 a game. I don't see why he can't do that. But playing on a good team like Dallas, he's probably going to average somewhere between 14 and 16 a game. But talk about a heartthrob. This dude, he's exactly what the NBA wanted, what they needed, what they begged for, leading this league into the next decade. First and foremost is his talent. He's extraordinarily talented. All right? He's also an athletic freak, which is key. You need to be able to do things that we haven't seen before, minus Stephen Curry. And the last thing, and people don't want to talk about it, but I don't know why. But he's white. The NBA needs white stars who can play. This dude can play. So, very impressed with Cooper. At the same time, I'm impressed with a lot of cats in this particular draft. Hanson Yang, the Chinese center who was signed by Portland at 16. That dude is an absolute beast. You know how many people are trying to hide from their general managers right now because they didn't have him higher on the board? Hanson Yang. Even with Klinging, the center from UConn that Portland drafted last year, who's a legitimate NBA starter. Hanson Yang, this Chinese kid, 7'1", he's legit. And they got him at 16. You don't get talented centers like that at number 16. So, got to big up the Portland staff for their evaluation. skills. They did draft the guy who was one of the co-creators of Draft Express. So they have somebody who can evaluate him there. And, you know, the Hanson kid, 7'1" center from China, is legit. Walter Clayton Jr. I think we all knew that Walter Clayton Jr., regardless of where he got drafted, was going to be successful. So I'm not surprised by him. I'm actually happy for him because he appears to do everything right. He has all of the attributes that I think the NBA is looking for. I know his agent, and just a phenomenal human being. So I think from a mentoring perspective, Walter Clayton Jr. is in good hands and he can play. Nick Clifford, the kid that the Sacramento Kings drafted out of Colorado State, who went to, I believe, Colorado first. He's played well. He's played very well, 6'6", can score it, can do a little bit of everything. We got a chance to get to know him during the NCAA tournament. So, I mean, I think Scott Perry did a nice job there. I like Chase Richardson. I don't know if he has the upside that Clifford has, but I like Chase Richardson. And when people were talking about his lack of size, only being 6'1", I knew he was going to be successful. So, not surprised by that at all. And yeah, those are a couple of cats that I've looked at. Liam McNeely, the young man from UConn, who was drafted 29th by Charlotte. If you watch him in college at UConn, you can tell he's a baller. Went to Mount Verdi, played high level. He understands about the level of competition that you have to play with. So, I mean, he might be a steal. He's probably a steal at 29. There's no doubt about that. A couple of guys I'm concerned about. I'm not going to beat him up too bad because he hasn't played. I don't know if he's going to play anymore, but Con Knipple at number 4. It's kind of interesting at this point. I mean, Charlotte needed the McNeely kid to really, really shine, and he has, because Con Knipple at number 4, when you look at all of the great players in this draft, and I don't think the guy's going to suck. I think he's going to be fine. But number 4, Jeremiah Fears, the point guard from Oklahoma, he's going to be a star. You know, he plays for the Pelicans. The Pelicans drafted him. I don't even care if he didn't make a whole lot of shots. I'm watching this guy's movement and how he finishes, how he passes. This Fears kid is legit. Dylan Harper is good. There's so many players in this draft that are going to be very successful NBA players. I even think that you know the pundits that was beating up Joe Dumars and the New Orleans Pelicans staff about trading next year's first-round pick to move up to get Derek Queen. I'm like, why? This kid is going to be a dominant player. Now, when I say dominant player, I'm not saying he's going to be a great defensive player, but scoring-wise, I'll take Derek Queen in a second. 6'9", 6'10", can play a small ball 5. He can play the power. Loves to play. Good post game. I have no problem with that. If I have Jeremiah Fears and Derek Queen for the next 2 years, along with what I have in New Orleans, oh, I'm rocking with that. So I think some of these cats need to be quiet and really let your evaluation skills speak for you, because I think New Orleans is doing a really good job. And see, I talked about it last week, and I'll talk about it a little bit. But I watched the movie F1 on July 9th in the theaters, and it was a great movie with a banger soundtrack, great actors, great graphics. I'm definitely watching the movie again. Good for you. I don't watch movies more than one time. I don't. F1 was excellent. Um, Actually made me care about F1 racing. That's how good the movie was. So I'm glad you saw it, SDA, and yeah, we'll talk about it. Young West. Young West says today was mic'd up. Okay, Tui was mic'd up in today's Warriors game. He was a vocal lead on the floor. Good quality ad. Yeah, as long as you can play. I got some questions about whether or not Alex is ready for this level. I watched his tape before. No, actually, not before. As soon as the Warriors drafted him, I started to do some due diligence on him. I know he played for Andrew Bogut in Australia. And if you ask me, do I think he's ready for the NBA? No, he's not. Could he ultimately be an NBA player? I don't know. A couple of things to look for. Doesn't really have a left hand. Doesn't dribble with his left hand. You cannot dribble all over the court with your right hand because the court becomes unbalanced. You know, it gives the defense a tremendous advantage unless you get a steal and you're kind of running the break by yourself. So I see some fundamental flaws in terms of how he plays as a wing player. Footwork's not great. Has a high motor. I give him that. And the thing that really gives me pause is he's not very strong. You know, guys were kind of going after him a little bit, and yeah, he should be in the D League, and the Warriors have to and the Warriors will have to evaluate him. I would say 30 games in. I don't want to see him going back to Australia though, because clearly the level of physicality in Australia is nowhere near what it is in the NBA. So, nice kid, good vocal leader, but could he help the Warriors right now? I don't think so. All you have to do is ask yourself, is he a better player than Guy Santos? No, he's not. He's not better than Guy Santos. Not even close. Could he get minutes over Dante Kuminga? No, no way. Thoughts on Kevon Looney going to the Pelicans? Bye. Happy for you. Go get that money. 2-year deal for $16 million, $8 million a year. What? Keep your house here in the Bay, because this is where you want to live long term. He's definitely a candidate to work for the Warriors in some capacity. A wonderful human being. But when you got 10 years in the NBA and somebody wants to give you 2 more years at $8 million a year, oh, I go to Mars. Put me in a rocket. Put me in a rocket ship. You know, I got to go get the money. So Looney was a consummate professional, 3-time NBA champion, but he did the right thing. He took the money. The Warriors weren't going to pay him that kind of money. So happy for him. Frank, I would love to have you on my YouTube channel because I've never had somebody like you with so much insight on sports. And you had a lot of great depth in my channel. You know my rule, SGA. Take your shades off, and then I'll consider it. All right? Yeah. I don't want to feel like I'm at a film premiere. Take your shades off. All right? Send me a clip. Send me a copy of the show when you don't have your shades on. Okay? If you take your shades off, I'll come on your show. All right? My first time getting the chance to watch Dylan Harper at the pro level and this weekend, and Dylan Harper's legit. I mean, I'm going to tell you something that's interesting. I think is interesting. People are assuming that De'Aaron Fox is going to be with the Spurs long term. I don't necessarily believe that. he makes a ton of money now. And the San Antonio Spurs are itching closer to the point where they have to make a decision on extending him or not. I don't know if they are. I could very easily see the Spurs trading him for some chips for a player. Why would you extend De'Aaron Fox if you got Dylan Harper? Dylan Harper looks like a guy who you can give the ball to now and just say, go, just go run my team. He has that level of skill. So De'Aaron Fox to me is kind of in a pickle because he won an out of sack, the city that he could have run for mayor in. And now he's in a situation where nobody's going to say, the quiet thing out loud, but they're questioning whether or not he's even a fit there. You have the reigning rookie of the year, the kid from UConn. You got Wemby. You got Dylan Harper. Another guy who's been very, very impressive to me is Connor Bryant, the small forward, the freshman from Arizona, who, if nothing else, we saw what he can do defensively in Summer League. Connor Bryant's going to be a player. One of the things I look at with Bryant right away is his wide shoulders. He has very wide shoulders, which makes it hard for offensive players to get by him. He has excellent lateral quickness, and your strength comes in your shoulders. So when he puts a little half forearm on people, they're not going to be able to get by him. So, it's going to take him some time to become comfortable offensively, but his shooting mechanics are fine. He's 6'8", and he's going to be a starter in the NBA. I think he will be. I think that with Harrison Barnes, it's not essential that he starts right away. Knowing how the Spurs do business, Connor Bryant is probably going to spend some time in the G League this year, which I think is a good play on their part. But he's a player, and they got him at 12. So you got Dylan Harper, and you got Connor Bryant, and you sign Luke Cornett in free agency. Pretty impressive. Know who Luke Cornett is to me? He is Ryan Colbrenner. The 7'1" center out of Clemson. Not Clemson, out of Creighton, excuse me. That the Charlotte Hornets drafted. The Charlotte Hornets drafted 4 players who are all going to make the team. Even the kid, Zion James, who was a grad transfer at Duke this year, he was drafted by Charlotte. It's interesting, post Michael Jordan ownership, totally different mentality in terms of how they're putting this team together. And I got to give Charlotte a lot of credit. If nothing else, they have amassed a large quantity of talent. The only thing I would have done is I would have drafted Jeremiah Fears at 4. And they probably can't get rid of LaMelo's contract, but I think somebody would have taken him. I think they need to find a way to start to part ways from him. I just do. Not that LaMelo's a bad young man. I don't think he is. But I think if you're serious about basketball, you got to get real serious players. And I think he got a lot of stuff going on. And I think it's going to take another location for him to really hone in on what he needs to do. I think from a leadership perspective, things are moving kind of slow. So I think Charlotte missed one by not drafting Jeremiah Fears, because I think he's going to be a star. Keith says, what's up, Frank? Who's impressed you the most in Summer League in the NBA? In Summer League so far? Um, I'm talking about it now. I think Hanson Yang has really impressed me. The center from Portland, Jeremiah Fears has impressed me. Um, Malawak has been solid. I think he projects eventually as a starter. Dylan Harper has been really good. I think most impressive to me has probably been Cooper Flag, and nobody's surprised by that. And with that said, I don't think he's going to win Rookie of the Year. But I think when you think about all that he has to deal with, this is LeBron 2.0 in terms of the hype. I'm not saying he's a better player than LeBron. Hell no, I'm never going to say that. He hasn't done jack. LeBron's a top 3 NBA player of all time. But coming into the NBA, he has that type of smoke with him. And I think thus far he's handled it very, very well. So because there's so much pressure on him, I'm going to say I've been most impressed with Cooper. But under the radar, when I look at movement and how guys move, Jeremiah Fears to me is going to go a long way in helping to resurrect the New Orleans Pelicans franchise. I think some guys are going to get traded. Jordan Poole needs to be careful because they have, DeJounte Murray there. And I don't think Fears is going to start. He's going to come off the bench. Joe Dumars is an old school guy. Willie Green is a very conservative coach. But to know that you have somebody fresh out of college who can be an impact player on your team is pretty impressive. So those are a few names. I would be even more comfortable with you telling me, asking me questions about what I think. I mean, Walter Clayton Jr. has been an absolute steal. Utah drafted him at 18. Are you kidding me? I'm a little concerned with Ace Bailey. But I'm rooting like hell for this guy. And I'm going to tell you why. Because the most important thing at any level is winning. Don't tell me how good you are. How many games did you win? Because if you win games, in the most simplest terms, that means that you stopped the opposition from scoring more than you. That takes effort. Rutgers this year was a dumpster fire. How could you have 2 top 5 NBA draft picks on your team and barely even make 500 and not make it to the NCAA tournament? How does that happen? I still don't know. So when I look at Will Hardy, who got a long-term extension from Utah, he's not going to give Ace Bailey an inch. He's not. And Danny Ainge and his son, I don't know what his son's name is, but he's actually I guess he's the general manager now. Austin Ainge, I think his name is. They're not going to give him anything. So Ace is going to have to commit himself to playing team basketball. A lot of the one-on-one stuff that he's used to doing, that he's very capable of doing in those types of systems, that's not going to work in Utah anymore because they have other good players. They got Laurie Marketing, They got a center. There's no reason why Utah this year should not be close to a play-in team. The only way that team does not make it to the play-in is the players don't give enough effort and they're not being coached hard enough because they have more than enough talent. So I'm a little concerned about him, but talent-wise, unbelievable talent. So you want to talk about the summer league, you want to talk about a particular player. If you want to even discuss, does winning matter in the summer league? Does it matter? Winning always matters. Always. Anytime you lose, it should bother you. It doesn't mean you should go bombastic, but winning matters all the time. All the time. I also want to acknowledge Bronny James and how impressed I am with Bronny. Bronny is itching towards becoming a legitimate NBA player that should be on the floor. Number one, he can defend his position. From the jump, he's been a pretty decent defender. He's becoming more comfortable on the offensive end. And I'm happy for the young man because it shows that he's putting the work in, man. Why would you root against a good kid? So it's kind of ironic because there's some clear acrimony, if you will, between his dad, LeBron James, and the Lakers, according to reports. I think some of the stuff is probably true in terms of how they're communicating with LeBron now, post new ownership. I think if LeBron could get a team to pay him $53 million, what he's making now, he would want to get the hell out of LA. He probably would want to come to the Warriors. He probably would. So actually, I mean, you don't buy out players when they make $53 million in 1 year. That's not going to happen. But I think LeBron is probably pretty over LA at this point because he's not used to being the other guy. And here's the thing about the Lakers that I think that is not being talked about. LeBron brings a lot of drama, right? A real heavy hand to any organization that he comes to. But LeBron's a natural leader. Players respond to LeBron James. And if LeBron is not on the Lakers, there's a major vacuum there. And I don't think that is being talked about enough. I don't think it's being respected enough. And if LeBron, like I said, the Lakers are moving on from LeBron. Really? Really? Luka's going to be your leader? And DeAndre Ayton? Are you kidding me right now? So if I'm LeBron, I am pissed off. If I'm not locked in as much as Luka is, I'm pissed off. I'm still the best player on the team. To me, LeBron's the best player on the team. Talent-wise, no. That's Luka. But in terms of impacting the team, holding players accountable, that's LeBron. To me. Unless Father Time steps up and says, you know what? Last year was your best year. You're going to look like all the other old people out there now. I don't see it happening. I still think he got juice in the tank. Whatever he's doing to keep himself in tip-top shape, it's working. And I think that he's going to be fine. So, LeBron in the Bay Area playing for the Warriors seems like fantasy. I don't think it's going to happen, but I think that he would like to do that. I do. SGA, I talked about this earlier. Thoughts on Alex Tui and Tyron Armstrong. Good players, not physically strong enough to play in the NBA. I don't even think that they're quick enough to play in the NBA right now. Now, you could argue that Armstrong is probably as quick as Pods, but Pods has the right mentality. If you ask Pods, he probably thinks he's 2 levels above where he is. you're not going to shake his confidence. And when you are a player trying to develop yourself, your level of confidence has to be on 1,000. So Tyron Armstrong and Alex Tui, they need to go to the G and build some confidence. I know Armstrong played there last year some. He really needs to go back there and build some strength. I don't understand how any player can play basketball and not be strong at this level. I don't get it. The Golden State Warriors. How you feeling? I'm not all that concerned right now because I think they got a plan. And I think the plan is going to play out once the Jonathan Kuminga thing kind of works itself out. But the bigger conversation is that second apron. And Draymond Green talked about it a little bit. Whomever gave the okay for that, I want to talk to that person. That person's probably not in the league anymore. Probably owns an island somewhere. That is one of the worst things that the NBA Player Association has ever agreed to. It is absolutely terrible. NBA free agency this year is pretty much, did it happen? It didn't even happen. Miles Turner signing for 4 years and 100. Is that it? They need to get rid of that. Here's what's fair. If you draft a player, right? If you draft a player, you should be able to extend that player past the salary cap. If you want to say that you have a hard salary cap and you can't bring free agents in, I could probably live with that. But where's the Supreme Court of the NBA or something? Let me change that. The Supreme Court's not doing real well right now. But what's fair? You develop a player, you draft a player, and then 4 or 5 years ago, you can't pay him because you're over the salary cap? That's a horrible rule. SGA says, thoughts on LeBron James, the Golden State Warriors team up with Steph. I just talked about that. The LA Lakers may be looking to move on from LeBron, opening the door for him to potentially join force with the Cleveland Cavaliers. I mean, you know what? That's not ridiculous. I don't think Cleveland management really wants to deal with LeBron. I don't think so. I don't. Would the fans embrace him? I think they probably would. If it only took Jared Allen. Yeah. If it took Jared Allen and maybe Lonzo just to make the money right, and you have Evan Mobley, LeBron James, Mitchell, Garland. Yeah. But I think there's too much business, looking beyond basketball. LeBron might just have to sit back and go, you know what, I won 4 championships. Because if you put LeBron on Cleveland, I think they win the East. I do. I think they win the East, and they're in the finals again. I do. And if the Lakers really want to move on from LeBron, getting a young player like a Jared Allen and an assortment of pieces is probably not bad. I don't see it happening. I'm only responding to what my man is saying. TG says, exactly, Frank. Why did they mix in aprons? Makes no sense. It doesn't. And here's the thing. It makes it seem so harmless, right? Like the NBA players are doing a charity event baking cookies. The owners and the players are working together in the community to build cookies, and they all got aprons on. No, the apron is kryptonite. I just saw Superman this weekend. The apron is analogous to kryptonite for the players. The first apron, put your second apron on. It's crazy. In spite of getting $10 billion, I think that had something to do with it. But I'm thinking like some of these owners, like a Mark Cuban, it's like, I don't want to be in a non-competitive situation. I don't want to be in this league anymore if these are the rules that I have to abide by. There's been a different champion for 7 straight years. OKC's not winning the championship this year. I'll take that bet with somebody. I will. Your favorite restaurant versus my favorite restaurant, up to $100. I'll take that bet. I don't gamble, but I will take that bet. Somebody will put me up on it. The big three for the Golden State Warriors would be Stephen Curry, Jimmy Butler, and LeBron. It'd be the Beatles all over again. The Bulls. How much credit does Mark Jackson deserve for unleashing Splash Bros and 3-point supremacy in the NBA? Mark deserves a lot of credit for it. And as I've stated before, I've said it numerous times, I know Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson and I were rivals in high school. And we played together for 3 years in the summer at West 4th Street Park in New York and at City College. And Mark Jackson made me a better player. So I know who he is from a basketball perspective. Some of the other stuff that happened, I don't know. But I'm going to tell you right now, Mark Jackson made sure that the one thing that Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson had when they stepped on the court was confidence. Confidence. Now, Steve Kerr offense rivals Tex Winter's triangle offense in the 90s. I'm going to give Steve Kerr that credit. Steve Kerr's offense is a mix of Pete Carrill, Princeton, Luke Olson in Arizona, Popovich in San Antonio, Phil Jackson in Chicago. All of those great components are in the Warriors offense. So I think Steve Kerr is a brilliant coach. But think about this for a second. Do you think if Mark Jackson was coaching Jonathan Kuminga, he would have gone through this? No, he would not. Now, the offense would not have been as sophisticated, but Jonathan Kuminga would be further along, in my opinion. And that's not me piling on. That's me injecting logic. Mark Jackson is a person that injects confidence in his players. The flip side of that is, okay, the offense, I can't conceive Mark's offense being as sophisticated as Steve Kerr's. Would they have won a championship If they had acquired Kevin Durant, I believe they would have. 4, I'm not going to say that. But I do think that they probably would have won a championship if they had that level of talent. As equally brilliant as Steve Kerr is as a coach, he's been very lucky. Extremely lucky. I'm not going to say definitively that Curry would have been as good in a more dribble-oriented offense. I'm not going to say that. I think that the offense that Kerr created for Stephen Curry is perfect for his skill set. Perfect. And for Klay Thompson as well. But there are other ways to win. So yes, I think Mark Jackson deserves a lot of credit for developing a mentality and a mindset that allowed Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson to be successful. And I would say Draymond to a certain degree, but I think that clearly Steve Kerr was the coach who unlocked Draymond's potential, moving him to the point forward. Transitioning a little bit, for everybody who loves football, breathes football, the NFL is the one sport, basketball to a certain degree, but nothing like the NFL. When training camp starts, the season starts. That's how we look at the NFL. I mean, think about this. No media group covers practices or the preseason like the beat writers of the NFL. Nobody. So this week, on I believe July 15th, the rookies show up for the San Francisco 49ers and other teams around the country. The season starts, and 6 weeks seems like a year. Hopefully it goes by fast, but we love football. We do. I'm a basketball head. I play both sports, but in terms of viewing and watching a sport on television, there's nothing better than the NFL. You can watch the 2 worst teams in the NFL and still have a pretty enjoyable experience. You don't want to watch them on Monday night. You don't want to watch them on Sunday night. You don't want to watch them on Thanksgiving, but you can watch 2 football teams that are pretty mid. Every team that shows up in the preseason has a real belief that they can win and resurrect their season. There's nothing like it. There really isn't. So, I don't like a lot of drama. I honestly don't. I don't like repeated drama about who's not happy or, whether or not a player is worth this amount. I don't like any of that crap. I just want to see football. And the San Francisco 49ers this year are going into camp with little to no drama. And I think as a result, their fans should be really, really excited. I can say I'm a 49er fan. I like the 49ers. I like them. I like to see them do well. I like the Oakland Raiders more. I covered them more. They're not here no more, so I don't really follow the Raiders anymore. I don't. I still hold on to those personalities and those heroes and those crowds in Oakland, but where they play now, I have to let that go. So how do you feel about the NFL? What are the big stories? I'm a Dak. I like players. So I'm a Dak Prescott guy. People kill Dak, and they can kill him as long as he doesn't win. They can beat him up because he has not won a Super Bowl. He hasn't even gotten close. They killed Jalen Hurts. Killed him. Jalen Hurts has played masterfully in 2 Super Bowls in the past 5 years. People still kill Jalen Hurts. I mean, the conversation around who's a better quarterback, Jalen Hurts and Brock Purdy, was kind of a laughing stock. What do you mean? Brock Purdy's top 5. Like, no, he's not. He's top 10 quarterback. The cool thing about the NFL is you can win in a lot of different ways. And it's hard to get to the Super Bowl. It is so damn hard. I can easily separate Aaron Rodgers, kind of the curmudgeon, weird kind of guy who's into a lot of things. It might be perfectly normal with him, but he's different, and that's okay. Aaron Rodgers, the quarterback, I can get with. I don't care he's 40 or however old he is. I don't care. I love the fact that the Pittsburgh Steelers this year are going all in. I can't see them beating Baltimore, but I think they're going to finish number 2 in that division. I do. I think they're going to win a playoff game as long as Aaron Rodgers is healthy. So I'm excited about that. Keith says, I heard a rumor that the NFL owners and the NFLPA are in bed together trying to keep salaries as low as possible, as well as the guarantees and contracts. That's dirty. Yeah, but does it surprise you? I mean, logically, it should, but does it really surprise you? I don't know if you've ever worked for a union before. I have. And let me say this. When I was really naive and didn't understand the ways of the world, there are people on both sides that are corrupt. There are. There are people looking out for their own best interests. Now, I don't want to get in the woods and talk about the NFL owners and the player association and who is on the various committees on the player side that are connected from a business perspective with the NFL owners. It's all dirty. It's all dirty. And at the end of the day, nothing's going to happen. I just read a report yesterday with someone coming out and saying that they were supportive of the union head who supposedly was involved in this crap. Oh, we support such and such. I would be more concerned about the low-level players who have no rights. If the NFL wants to keep salaries down, it's obviously for the quarterbacks. Now, the one question that I would ask you is how much money has running backs lost over the past 5 years or so? Think about that for a second. If it sounds like collusion and it smells like collusion, it probably is. You have like Hall of Fame running backs that can't even get $10 million a year. Think about that for a second. I'm not overly worried about the quarterbacks. The quarterbacks appear to be doing fine. But the running backs, think about that. Before Saquon Barkley got his extension, he was literally making peanuts. when you compare that to his actual talent. That's dirty pool. So it's all hearsay. There's rumors about it, but the evidence speaks loudly. If any one position in the NFL has been victimized by the league, by the NFL, by keeping salaries down, it's the running backs. Everybody else is getting paid. The quarterbacks are getting paid. The offensive linemen are getting paid. The wide receivers are getting paid. The running backs are getting screwed. Yeah. That is absolutely terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. I like football, so I don't really root for any one team. But I would love to see Dak Prescott get that monkey off his back, man. I would love to see that. I would. I know a lot of, back in my neighborhood when I was a kid, people hated the Dallas Cowboys. I didn't hate the Cowboys. I just didn't like them. I wasn't, but there were players. How could you not like Roger Staubach, though? I like Roger Staubach. I would love to see Dak Prescott get that monkey off his back, though. I would. And here's the thing about that and how the world works. This just in. If Dak Prescott doesn't win a Super Bowl, he's going to do fine. He's going to do okay. But think about how winning a Super Bowl impacts your post-football career, i.e. Tom Brady, i.e. Aikman, Strahan. It matters. Now, it's not an absolute, but you're different when you win a Super Bowl. You really are. Think about a guy like Steve Young. If you're old enough to have seen Steve Young play pre-San Francisco 49ers, it was not pretty. Steve Young playing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, that was not a beautiful sight to watch. First 3 or 4 years, he didn't even start for the 49ers. But when he got his opportunity, he took total advantage of it. And what happened? He rode that to a Super Bowl win and a Hall of Fame career. And most people now, when they think of Steve Young, they don't even consider his career before he was a 49er. They may not be old enough to even remember that, or his accolades far outshine any challenges he had early on in his career. That's how important the Super Bowl is. It is so important. My man Keith says, all the second round picks in the NFL are holding out to get their contracts guaranteed. I hope the owners budge. It's a rookie contract that's cheap. Stop penny pitching damn millionaire owners. Yeah, yeah, man. I'm always going to be pro player. Always. Always. At the same time, I'm always going to be pro do your job. I'm always going to hold players accountable. If you get paid and you're not doing your job, you should not get paid. It's simple. It is simple. But in an organization, in a league like the NFL, where there's so much money involved, I agree with you, Keys. Why not guarantee second round picks, contracts? Now, second rounders get to move to free agency faster than first rounders. So, do they want to give that up? You know? All right. As you all know, I'm a hip hop artist. Maybe some of you don't know, but I am a hip hop artist. I got 4 songs on YouTube. I'm going to release 2 more songs this summer. I'm a legitimate artist. I'm not somebody just putting out some BS. My stuff is actually good. And I'm a tough ass critic. I mean, it doesn't mean somebody likes it. It doesn't mean you have to like it. But the quality of the product is good. How do I know that? Because I'm a tough critic. I'm a hip hop head. I am a tough critic. I'm tough on myself. I'm tough on everybody else. So, oftentimes critics don't have music in the atmosphere. They just form an opinion, which is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you got some skin in the game, when you are actually making music for people to judge, that's a different level. Generally speaking, if you ask me how do I feel about the state of hip hop, I don't love it right now. I don't. I have to dig too deep to find the jewels. Back in the day, it wasn't like that. Maybe we will have a resurgence. I don't know. I am not hopeful. But I don't like the state of hip hop. And I'm going to tell you, because it's not as smart right now. It's just not as smart. Somebody might say, well, Red, I don't really want smart hip hop. Really? I want it all. I want it all. I have never heard so many 90% women artists talking about their body parts. I mean, come on, man. I mean, hey, if it works for you, I'm not knocking it, but it's not what I want to hear. Is it witty sometimes? Yeah, okay, but I don't want to hear that all the time. Lauryn Hill has built a career off of one album. Why? Because the album was magnificent. Because it was historic. She put out one commercial individual album. And she had an alternative album where she played guitar that was also damn good, by the way. Queen Latifah, MC Lyte. I mean, these women are still revered. I'm not saying that there's not women out there who are killing it. Shay Noor. Dope. Shay Noor is dope. I listen to her stuff. She's awesome. There's a lot of talented people. I'm not just talking about women artists either. I like stuff that's smart. So think of the smart artists, and I probably like them. Sometimes it's just, I like the way that Drake makes songs. I couldn't listen to a whole album of that, but I like how he makes songs. Kendrick, I like all these guys. But the Clips' new album, I think it's called Let God Sort It Out. It's pretty darn impressive. Pharrell produced it. I can't say that I'm the biggest Clips fan. I'm not. But what I like about the Clips and what I like about this album, a rap group, if you don't know who they are unapologetically the Clips. They put an album out 16 years ago. Pusha T's put out individual albums. But this is the first Clips album, I believe, in 16 years, and it sounds exactly like the Clips. That's awesome. And the production is tight. I really appreciate that. So if you like the Clips, if you like hip hop, give it a shot. There are many other artists out there that I like that I don't necessarily have time to talk about. But overall, I'm not happy with the state of hip hop. I'm just not. Tuna Bomb says hip hop is awful now. I would stick to the Woo and the Far Side. I like both of those groups. Passing Me By. Man, come on, man. Wu-Tang is an institution. They will be in the Hall of Fame at some point. No doubt about that. I'm a big fan of. Think about this. How many groups can you actually make a gritty, compelling series about? Multiple years. Wu-Tang is crazy. Shout out to Fugees. Yeah, hey man, historic. I love Kendrick Lamar and Drake. That's cool. Kendrick raps like Minnie Mouse. SGA says, Big Frank, Red, I'm a big fan of your music. And you are, what is it? And you are, I'm a celebrity? I don't think so. Clips was good back in the day. I would check it out. Yeah, man. I mean, listen, Tuna Bomb. The track that they have with Kendrick, I think it's called Chains and Whips. The track is crazy. The track reminds me of The Takeover when Jay-Z sampled The Doors. I don't know if that was Kanye or I can't think of the other producer. The Takeover, they sampled The Doors. This track that Pharrell did for Chains and Whips, featuring Kendrick Lamar, is legit. It really is. So, okay. So that's my hip hop take. If you have some hip hop takes, feel free to chime in. The other thing I want to get to the bottom of, I don't know when, but I want to have a discussion about whether or not plants are real. Industry plants. You often hear that term, and there's never been more music in the marketplace than it is right now. It is really, really hard to get any type of attention. And every once in a while, you'll have an artist who may or may not be good. I'm not saying they're not, but they will have a meteoric rise to the top, to the point where they become ubiquitous in the minds of music fans. You go, how did this happen? How did this happen? Thus, the conversation around industry plants. I want to talk to somebody who actually has some information about that, because I don't have any inside dope on it. I have my beliefs. I think it is real, but I don't have any real insight on that. All right, here's our history lesson by SGA. The Clips, also known as The Clips, is an American hip-hop duo from Norfolk, Virginia. Formed in 1994, it consists of brothers Gene, Malice, and Terrence Pusha T. Thornton. SGA, that's one of the few times in which, like, your history lessons are actually good. That's great because the clips are obscure to this audience. And for you to write their profile, that's pretty good. I know you cut and pasted. I mean, you didn't write it, you cut and pasted it. But to bring it to the forefront, I don't mind that. That's actually good. Thank you. Key says, hip hop is damn near dead, coming from a guy who's 51 and grew up listening to real lyricists and raw real life poets. I'm sure there's good artists that I haven't heard, but a lot of crap. Yeah, there are, Keys. There are a lot of artists that you haven't heard, but we shouldn't have to work so hard to find them, right? I'm with you. Tuna says that Danger Mouse Jay-Z Beatles album was classic. I'm not familiar with that. Are you serious? What's it? Danger Mouse Jay-Z Beatles? It must be like an album that somebody put together, kind of mishmashed the styles. I don't think Jay-Z wrote new lyrics for this album. Am I wrong? I'm doing a Golden State Valkyries versus Dallas Wings post game on my channel, and I would love to have you join because that would be absolute fire. What is the day and what is the time? Rick Beto, YouTube legend, talks about modern pop music with 15 writers planted a lot. Yeah, you know what, Tuna? I actually watch his videos, and they're really interesting because I love history, and I find it really interesting to watch his videos and learn about, songwriting, particularly like the different genres. And one of the things that you are kind of alluding to, it's called like how pop music works. Pop music works this way. If you're in the room, you get credit on the song, which is kind of good in that a lot of people eat, but the level of contribution on those songs is probably not equal, but it's just kind of how pop musicians and artists work. And I get it, but it doesn't necessarily speak to the plant conversation, but I watch his videos also. Pretty cool stuff. Okay, there you go. Danger Mouse mixed Jay-Z's Black Album lyrics with Beatles' White Album beats. Yeah, that's what I thought. I've never heard it. And they call it the Gray Album. Where can I find it? Is it on Spotify? Could I go to Spotify and listen to it? I'm a big Beatles fan. Love the Beatles. What's your favorite Beatles song? I got so many Beatles songs, I don't know all the titles. Yeah, man. If you look at the Beatles, what they did, they literally, I think they were together 8 years, and they released 12 albums in 8 years. Something crazy. I was listening to someone today talk about the Beatles on a video. And there was a year in which the Beatles, and there was 1 year in which the Beatles released 3 albums in 1 calendar year. Like 12 or 13 songs. In 12 months, they released 3 albums. Pretty impressive. So many songs they've written that I really like. Okay. What day is that, SGA? 7/25. What day is that? I went to see the Superman movie. And it was directed and written by James Gunn. Kind of a person who does those types of fantastical type movies. And I respect what he did. First and foremost, he was like, you know what? This is 2025. I got to take this franchise in a different direction at the risk of pissing some people off and having some people, quite frankly, not like the movie. But I have to do it for the future. I get it. I'm a writer. I write screenplays. I've written one, working on another one. So I understand that when you get hired to do a job, you should be unaffected by how people are going to perceive your art. Just do the job. And you know, let the chips fall where they may. So I respect it. He hired some character actors who are not quite famous. For example, David Corn Sweat plays Superman. He fits the bill. He's about 6'4", 225, 230. Looks like Superman. Rachel Brosnahan, I've seen her before. I can't tell you a movie that she's been in, but I've seen her in stuff. She played a pretty good Lois Lane. She was fine. Pretty, beautiful, kind of smart, looked like a good kisser too. So I give her credit. Nicholas Hoult played Lex Luthor. I've seen him around too, another young guy. None of these people are stars. They are budding stars. And they did this to keep the cost down. If you have a big time star, you got to pay him money. They didn't want to do that. Now, how would I rate Superman? If I'm using a letter grade scale, I would give it a B. I'm not the hardest grader. I would give it a solid B. And I think that's fair. The plot was kind of all over the place. It wasn't something that you could really follow. You could tell that they were trying to lean in to a very, very young market because they use a lot of special effects, a lot of fantasy, like fantasy things, time travel. I get it. So they was like, forget about the script. Let's have a thin script and let's go heavy on the eye candy. I get it. But as a writer, as someone who likes storylines, and I can understand stories, I like stories. So I'm hoping that now that they have a built-in audience, they will trust the audience a little more and lean into, their intelligence. Because I think those are the movies that last. Now, the challenge that Superman has is Christopher Nolan's iteration of Batman happened. As a result, everything is measured by the excellence of Batman. You're not going to reach that level of excellence. The first Joker on his own 2 feet stood on his own 2 feet and was phenomenal. The second Joker, Joker number 2, was one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Chris Nolan made multiple Batman classics. Why? Because he leaned into character. It was a story with emotion, great acting. I'm going to say this. We deserve another Batman with Nolan and Chris. Who's the actor? I mean, why would he do that? I get he's tired. Yeah. But I think we deserve one more Batman before Batman gets too old where he can't do it. So, if you got 2 hours, you like going to the movies, Superman is fine. It's a B. If you are going there expecting to see one of the best movies of the year, you're going to be disappointed. Doesn't compare to Sinners at all. Sinners is the best movie that I've seen all year. I would say right now, in July, I'm going to say Sinners is number 1 by Ryan Coogler. Number 2 is F1, which was great. And I'm going to say number 3 is The Life of Chuck. I really like that as well. So, feel free to disagree with me. I love it. Frantic Rage says, B is fair. I may like it more after a second watch. Yeah, okay. I dig it. All right. Tuna Bomb says, Batman connects as a normal movie. No superpowers. No physical superpowers, but his gadgets are awesome. The Batmobile, some of his like nets and stuff. I mean, I love that stuff, man. You know, he kind of knows karate, not quite, but he can do a couple of moves or two. I just think the acting is phenomenal. Glendocious, it's a solid B. It was entertaining enough to keep my attention. There you go. SGA says Heath Ledger was the best Joker, hands down. Yeah, he was good, but Joaquin Phoenix was phenomenal. And he was. I mean, he's a great actor. I don't want to blame Lady Gaga. It wasn't her fault. She didn't add anything to the movie, but it wasn't her fault. The script and everything about that Joker 2 was just terrible. Christian Bale. Yeah, I mean, hey, man. I mean, when I look at what acting and movies have done for Christian Bale, I think he can give us one more. I would love to see one more. So, there you go, folks. Do you know how long we've been on air? 90 minutes. I love that. I love it. I love it. I love the fact that we can just engage in conversation. Miss the old Pro-Am Summer League. What do you mean by that? It's still happening. Tuna Bomb, what do you mean by that? It's happening. I'm not going to talk about this kid, but there's a kid that I coach. I'm on the staff of one of those teams, and there's a kid that plays locally. I won't mention his name right now, but I think he got a shot at the NBA. Very impressive young man, and maybe I'll speak to him a little later. I don't want to put him on blast right now, but I think he has a chance to play in the NBA. Point guard, very talented kid, and played for a university that you would probably be surprised that he plays for. Definitely a snatch and grab candidate, which I hate. I hate the fact that these major colleges now have somebody on their staff scoping out the mid-major level schools for their best players to offer them a gazillion dollars to come play for their schools. Because it takes time to scout these players, to build their confidence, to actually coach them and coach them up to the point where they're playing better than people perceive that they would play. You know, I don't like that crap. You always got to be on the lookout for that now. It's tough. Why the Warriors pass on Stanford center Maxime Reynard, who I coached 3 years ago? They're probably asking the same question. Now, in fairness to the Warriors, in fairness to Dunleavy Jr., I believe that they feel if they had drafted Maxime Reynard, that would have stifled the growth of Quentin Post. You don't have to agree with that. I may or may not agree with it, but I get it. Neither one of them are great defensive players. Neither one of them are going to be really good defensive players within the next 2 or 3 years. They both are perimeter-oriented bigs. And I get it. I mean, Maxine has played pretty well this summer. When I was coaching him, the thing that popped out right away was his offensive skills and his fluidity around the basket. He can shoot. Now, he's a better player now than he was even then, but I can't ever see him being a really good defensive player. So I think the Warriors took a flyer on Alex Chewy. Richard is a solid second-round pick. I don't care if Richard was drafted at 52 or 58 or whatever. He's a solid second-round pick who might have an opportunity to have an NBA career if he can shoot the ball well enough. He can defend his position. He's a good kid. He's a winner. He's already won a national championship. He knows how to play. He knows how to cut. You know, he can play multiple positions. So I get it. My early analysis of Alex Tui, a bit of a reach. Doesn't really have a position. He's not a 3 and he's not a 4. So 20 and 10 is rare in college and the ACC. Yeah, you're right. But the one thing I would say to you is, how impactful is 20 and 10 when your team is not really, really successful? They might have had a winning record. I mean, they got a good coach, but they won an NC2A team. He didn't lead them to an NC2A tournament berth. So, which means that I would immediately want to know how many points and rebounds did the person he was guarding having? What's his plus-minus ratio? That's what I would look at. A lot of times stats don't always tell the story. So Tuna Bomb, you might even have that information, but when I'm evaluating players, I want to see the plus-minus ratio. I don't care how much somebody scores. I want to see the plus-minus ratio. Think about this for a second. Draymond Green wins a lot of plus-minus ratios. He's not a scorer, but the person that he's guarding generally is not a scorer either. He's stopping them. That's how you win. That's how you win. The Warriors, think about this. The Warriors were in the series against Minnesota because they competed. That's the only reason. Their plus-minus ratio was really good. TG, Frank, thoughts on Moody next year? Wow, man. I think Moody, and people have said this, Moody is, I don't believe this, but you can almost be too good a human being. Moses Moody does not get the respect that he deserves. He doesn't. He should have been traded 2 years ago. Because I mean, I don't think he's ever going to get the opportunity that he deserves. Now, let me say this. The Warriors paid him. They didn't have to pay him. Steve Kerr had to be involved and giving the nod and saying, yes, yes, I'm okay with this. So he has a 3-year, $40 million contract. You can buy a lot of acreage in Arkansas with $40 million. So while he has not gotten the opportunities on the basketball court, they did recognize that he's been professional, he's dealt with a lot of strife, and he deserves to be paid. So, it's kind of a double-edged sword. I'm happy for him. But I wish he would get traded to a place where he could play. But a good organization, though. Not some of these dumpster fire teams that has all this crap going on. He's a classy guy. Yes, Tunenbaum, that's what I'm talking about. Stanford's like 500. I mean, if you're a big guy and you're dominant, Maxime Reynard is 7'1". I would have liked to seen him move the needle a little bit more at Stanford, and he didn't do it. Why? Because he's not a great defender. The ACC is not the ACC of old. It's not a great league. It's a good league, not great. Who you like more, Nas or Rakim? I got so much respect for both artists, but it's not a hard question for me. Nas has put out way more product than Rakim. Way more. Nas's catalog is crazy. Right? Crazy. Nas's ascension in this industry rivals anybody who's ever done anything artistically in hip hop. Nas is a co-owner of a record label called Mass Appeal. Nas and his partner built Mass Appeal. Mass Appeal might be the best independent rap label in the country right now, in the industry. So I got to give it to Nas. Now, Rakim coming into hip hop, I'm gonna use this analogy, was literally like an alien coming from outer space descending on Earth. That was Rakim's impact on hip hop. Hip hop, when Rakim came in, was literally equivalent to getting a high school diploma. That's what it was. When Rakim released music, it was analogous to somebody who already had a master's degree who was actively pursuing a doctorate. Anybody who loves hip hop can never denounce his impact on this incredible art form that we love and care about called hip hop. That's Rakim. So now I'm just taking it further, but Rakim came before him. Think about this. Just this weekend, when I'm listening to Chains and Whips, the song by the Clips featuring Kendrick Lamar has a line in his verse that says, "I owe half my publishing to Rakim." Now, he was essentially tipping his hat, saluting Rakim with that line. But he gets it. He gets it. And that's what I'm talking about. So, thank you for the question. I get emotional because I love hip hop. And those two artists are just incredible. One of the songs on Rakim's second album is called "This Is For The Listeners." And I even mentioned it last week. He has a song called "This Is For The Listeners." And I hold that lyric dear to me because that's how I felt when I got into radio, when I was doing commercial radio. And even doing this particular podcast, this is for the listeners. To have that level of commitment It's really what it's all about. It's not about how many likes I have, how many people subscribe to my station. Who gives a shit? I don't care that much. I don't care. It's nice. I would love to get to 1,000, but if it doesn't happen, you think I'm gonna go somewhere and sulk and cry? Go, I'm terrible. No, I'm not. I don't care. What's important is that level of commitment, that relationship, those relationships that I'm building on a week-to-week basis, those relationships that I am building through your thoughts, through your comments. That's what this is all about. This is a diversion. Rakim got that 25, 30 years ago. He was on that level. Truly a magnificent artist. You say Rakim. I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you. Moody's a great kid, but he lost his edge and quickness past few years. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Just, trade him. You can't trade a good guy like Moses Moody with wonderful parents like that. Are you kidding me? That dude is cream of the crop. Tuna Bomb says, it was written, my favorite Nas album. Illmatic is my favorite. Rakim was Dr. J. Yeah, one of the true ambassadors of the game. Class personified. Rakim is Dr. J. Doc was a better baller than Kobe and LeBron, and never any love in the best ever talk. I'm never going to say anything derogatory about Dr. J. Dr. J was my childhood hero, and what he did for me and the people in my hometown was unbelievable. Dr. J comes from my hometown. Hempstead, New York, out in Long Island. And Dr. J, when the season was over with the 76ers, it might have even been his championship year, he would get in his Winnebago, put his kids in his Winnebago, and come to the local high school, afro and knee pads on, and do dunk contests for us for about 30 minutes. Because he played for the local Salvation Army team as a youth. And I will never forget that. I'm actually really good friends with his nephew. We're like brothers. And I just leave it at that. Everybody looks up to Dr. J. Michael Jordan looks up to Dr. J. Dr. J might be the greatest ambassador. He's one of the great ambassadors of the NBA. He really was. He was one of the first stargazing type players that we could look at and go, wow, did he just do that? He did superhuman stuff. Rewind is one of my favorite creative songs ever written. That's Eminem, right? Eminem has quite a few songs that are dear to me, that I live by. Lose Yourself is a song I listen to when I need to motivate myself. Stan, I love that. Rap God is one of the best rap songs ever done. Rap God. Guts Over Fear, I love. Make Me Smile, I love. Yeah, I mean, one of the great lyricists of all time, one of the great artists of all time. And whenever I hear like Rap God by Eminem, like I feel Eminem because I know his influences, right? I know his influences. I met Eminem. I met Eminem at Stanford. We chopped it up for about 10, 15 minutes. But Rap God to me is an homage to Cool G Rap, Men at Work. Cool G Rap did the first classic up-tempo rap song. I think that was the first one that was like brilliantly done. Everybody holds up Men at Work as like the pillar, the level you got to get to. And that's by Cool G Rap. After that, Ice Cube got a couple. Chuck D got quite a few of them. LL Cool J. There's many other groups have successfully done that. Even Snoop Dogg. The Shiznick is great. But Cool G Rap started it off. Key says, great answer on hip hop. Frank, us listeners appreciate and love you, brother. Wow. I love y'all. Dr. J is an all-time great hero. That's Nas. Oh my God. Oh yeah. That was crazy. That was crazy. Somebody was talking about that yesterday. I don't remember who it was. But yeah, when the bullet goes back into the gun, I mean, that was crazy. I mean, think about this guy. I actually know the person who signed Nas. I actually do. Can you imagine signing Nas? This young kid from Queens, Kingsbridge, knowing that this guy was capable of that, he was a genius. I mean, when he's no longer making records and you look at this guy's discography, are you kidding me? There is no rapper who's ever picked a mic up who is as prolific as him. Nobody. It doesn't mean that they're not artists who rival the quality of his work, because there certainly is. But no one has been as prolific as him. Nobody. Should you have listened to new Brit artist Ren? Nah, is he dope? I'll listen to him tonight if he's dope. The only person that I've listened to that I've kind of come on board with, and you might go, Red, he's the most commercial artist from Britain, is Central C. It took me a while to kind of get with him, but that dude works his tail off, man. He's a hard worker. I respect people who work hard. Oh, Ren's a rabbit hole. Okay, well, I'm gonna go down it. I'm on my kind of European London artist trek now with like alternative pop. I mentioned him last week, but I like this cat Sam Fender, man. His joint "Rein Me In" with another artist from London, Olivia Dean is her name. It doesn't hurt that she's beautiful, but I love her deep voice. She's talented. There's so many talented artists from Europe. And the cool thing about them now, the cool thing about European artists now, Ren. Are you talking about Ren Back on 74? He has a joint out called Back on 74. Yeah, I'm familiar with him. If we're talking about the same person, I like his musicianship. Yeah, yeah. I don't like how he raps. I don't. I'd have to be honest. How like most European artists are able to lose their accent and sing like Americans, and it sounds phenomenal. The way that he raps, his accent is just. I don't like it personally. I don't. I wish I did, but I don't. But I would love to work with him because he gets the soul, man. He has the soul. He understands black music. He does. He gets it. But from a songwriting perspective, Sam Fender, I think is excellent. Olivia Dean is dope. Ren, I would love to do some tracks with him because he is a fantastic musician. Pretty good singer too. Yeah, pretty good singer. He can sing. But rap, I haven't heard anything he's done from a rap perspective that I like. Do you mess with South American house? I went to Cape Town and Johannesburg. It changed my life. I can send you a few mixes. Please do that. Yeah, send me some stuff, man. Which means that you follow me on Twitter then, right? You know, send me the stuff. Or I guess you could reference it on the email here and I'll pick it up also. SGA is a 29-year-old dot in this chat, Googling stuff. I am the only one that has not blocked him. Yes, Tuna Bomb, I agree with you. You're talking about Ren, rapping too fast. Yeah, I mean, it's like, yeah, I'm a rapper. I know it sounds good. That doesn't sound great. All right. You know what? I was going to sign off, but we are at 1 minute and 52. So we might as well go to 2 hours, right? You know? Ask me some questions, man. Who do you think is going to make the biggest jump in the NFL this year, and who's going to slide back? There's a lot of people, maybe not a lot outside of Detroit, but there's some people who think that the Detroit Lions, with Ben Johnson going to the Chicago Bulls, is going to slide back a little bit. I hope that's not the case because I love their coach. But it's tough in the NFL. The NFL is the one sport that requires that you get it done every year. And if I think of a team that's going to bounce back from having a tough year last year, it's the 49ers. I think the 49ers are going to be in the playoffs again this year. Tuna Bomb says, Ghostface Killer, my favorite of all time. Ghostface is the favorite rapper of a lot of rappers. And why? Because no one else can duplicate his style. He is truly unique. A truly unique artist. Ghostface is on Mass Appeal. He's on Nas's label. Earlier today, I was doing some research and I researched Mass Appeal Records, which is the label that Nas co-owns. And Ghostface is on that album. I mean, Ghostface is on that label along with Brody James, DJ Shadow, and they're killing it right now, man. Mass Appeal Records is killing it right now. And I'm a big fan of Ghostface. I think my favorite Ghostface, well, my two favorite Ghostface songs is "You Can't Get a Guy," you can't get him back like that with Neo. I love that. And Shay Shay LaBeouf. Tony the he's dope, man. What do you think of the Big Three League? I'm glad it exists. I think that's the best compliment I can pay it is I'm glad that it exists. I like full court. It's hard for me to watch half court basketball. I don't think that they've had the quintessential star that they needed, that who was better than everybody else. I think that's what's missing. Like if Kobe Bryant had retired, RIP, and went right into the Big Three, and was able to do what he was doing the previous year, I think that would have really taken the Big Three to the next level. All of the players look like they've been out of the league for a couple of years, and I don't particularly like that aesthetically. Now, it would be interesting to see if LeBron would jump into the Big Three if they gave him ownership, gave him some ownership in it. But they need a mega star. They haven't had a mega star yet. I think I enjoy watching WNBA basketball more. It's just me. Because it's full court. Lion speed makes plays, not Ben Johnson. I dig that. I dig it. Action Bronson 100% copied the style. Hella accurately. Too, haha. Yeah, you know what? And yeah, you know, it's funny because everybody knows that. And Action Bronson has always been deferential to Ghostface. And I think that quietly has made it kind of okay. And I get it. I mean, I got a song that I sound like Big Daddy Kane. Now, I didn't copy Big Daddy Kane's style. All of my songs don't sound like Big Daddy Kane. But I think when you admire an artist, particularly when you are kind of starting out, you tend to sound like artists that you like. And, you know, you're kind of finding your voice. You really don't have a voice yet. So you consciously or unconsciously try to sound like someone who you admire and people like. It's a weird dynamic. It's almost as cerebral as learning a language. It's really complicated and it's really sophisticated because I don't think anybody is trying to cause harm. I don't think Action Bronson is trying to pull a fast one. I think Ghostface is an artist who he admired and he crafted a style. And I think over a period of time, he deviated a little bit to the point where you could clearly tell the difference between Action Bronson and Ghostface. But he was heavily influenced by Ghostface. Another one is Old Drew, young Old Drew, who kind of sounds like Nas. But the more you listen to, I think his name is Young Old Drew, he sounds more and more like himself. And he's put out a lot of work. And he's a really talented, Old Drew is a really talented artist. So give him his props. He's talented. Now E40 is a rapper with style who can't be copied. How true is that? That's so true. Cannot be copied. Ghost has that soul. Wildflower Jams is nuts. He's one of a kind. Would have worked doing Hoop It Up days. Broncos, because they got all our injured players. We didn't want. So the Broncos going to fall back, huh? Will any NBA players be in the San Francisco Pro-Am this year? I think there's one. I think I'm on a staff that is coaching one. Yeah. I'm not going to mention his name because I don't want to start anything. But yeah, I think there's a player who I've identified who I think in the next couple of years will be a solid NBA prospect. Yes. Yep, no kids want to copy Minnie Mouse Kendrick. Kendrick is such a great lyricist. I mean, whatever people think he sounds like, you like his voice or not, he's truly one of the great lyricists of all time. All right, we did it, y'all. 2 hours of power in the Dungeon Show. I want to thank you for joining me. I really appreciate y'all. Hopefully you've hit the notification button, the like button, and you have subscribed to the show. Everybody can't do 2 hours straight like this. Or it might not even be smart based on the algorithm. I have no idea. I don't know. But I did it. I did it for you and my enjoyment. Thank you. SGA, so Friday. What time is the show? What time are you doing the show? I'll commit to it, SGA. Yeah, I'll do it. Take your shades off and I'll do it. All right. I saw DeMarcus Cousins get into a big scuffle in a game overseas. What a sad story. He should have took that money when he had the chance. Never the same after injury. You're right. You're right. You're right. I have empathy for him, but I think he learned some valuable life lessons that happened to cost him probably somewhere between $70 and $100 million. And always great catch the show. Appreciate you. Best hip hop album of all time, All Eyes on Me. It's a lot of people's favorite. Yeah, you know what? I want to say this because you mentioned DeMarcus Cousins. When you're young, really young, you get to a point where, you know everything, nothing can stop you, and you don't listen as much. And that's sad because sometimes you learn these tough lessons. You want to learn these tough lessons on your own volition. The NBA and professional sports is so big that not one individual matters that much. Do you make it better? Yes, absolutely. Would there be an NBA if LeBron is not in the league anymore? Yeah. Will the NBA continue to enthrall its fans when Steph Curry is no longer here? Yes. Will it take a dip? Yes. But it will continue. Sometimes players, and even someone might be working, they don't understand how fortunate they are to do something that they love and get paid a lot of money for it. I learned a long time ago that if you are doing something that you love to do, you're truly blessed. And unfortunately, there are athletes throughout history who had to learn some tough lessons. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm gonna leave it there. And I want to thank you for joining me tonight. Once again, hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, and I look forward to the next time that I am on air. We know it's going to be next Sunday or sooner. I really don't know. All right? I'm going to do my thing and get out of here. Success and getting paid is a manifestation of the whole process. If you as an individual don't do things to help other people make their lives better, as far as I'm concerned, you haven't done nothing. Good night, everybody. I'm Frank Red, and this is the In the Dungeon Show. Peace.